Well, we're halfway through the show, which means it's time for Kendrick Lamar to come out and call Drake a...
Brace yourself for one of the wildest transformations in modern music. You won't believe how Drake, once the unbeatable champion of hip-hop, went from ruling the charts to getting roasted at Hollywood's most prestigious event. Yes, we're talking about the Oscars and a certain late-night comedian's unexpected P-word jab. How did this pop culture titan descend into being a punchline at the world's biggest award ceremonies? Is there really a grand conspiracy against him, or did he orchestrate his own downfall by overreacting to a fierce rap feud? Let's dive into the Drake versus Kendrick Lamar controversy, unravel how it captured everyone's attention from the Grammys to the Super Bowl to the Oscars, and discover why people are saying Drake's meltdown is changing the face of entertainment forever. Out of all the epic moments in this ongoing spectacle, Conan O'Brien's Oscars remark stands out as the biggest bombshell. Midway through the show, he took the stage and dropped a line nobody expected. Well, we're halfway through the show, which means it's time for Kendrick Lamar to come out and call Drake a P-word. He followed it with, "Don't worry, I am lawyered up." Those two sentences launched a firestorm on social media, leaving viewers and critics alike asking, did the Oscars really just diss Drake like that? Yes. And that jolt wasn't just a quick comedic jab, it signaled something massive. Drake's humiliations have escalated so dramatically, they're now fair game for Hollywood's biggest night. The meltdown he's enduring has leaped from rap battle gossip into mainstream pop culture. Every corner of the internet lit up within minutes, as fans and casual observers scrambled to watch the clip and dissect this jaw-dropping turn of events. But that was only the beginning. Before we fully explore Conan's comedic nuke, let's rewind to see how Drake's public missteps built up to this point, and why an Oscars host would even choose him as a target in the first place. The Oscars fiasco didn't materialize out of nowhere. For the past year, Drake has been on a turbulent ride, especially since Kendrick Lamar hinted it would be a long year for Drake. People initially dismissed that as a standard rap rivalry, something sure to pass. Then, repeated public embarrassments hammered Drake's once impenetrable image. The Grammys. The tension around Drake's performance and nominations was palpable. Even subtle mentions of his feud with Kendrick sent waves of discomfort across social media. Fans whispered that Drake looked abnormally stressed anytime someone alluded to the rap. Whether it was purely coincidental or planned by show producers, viewers zeroed in on every moment that hinted at his ongoing meltdown. The Super Bowl. Most of us see the Super Bowl as unrelated to rap controversies. Usually, it's about the big game and the halftime performance. But in the midst of that spectacle, rumors took off. Some watchers claimed the comedic elements in the halftime show poked fun at Drake's predicament in subtle ways. In response, memes flooded Twitter and Instagram. Drake's predicament started reaching people who never cared about rap feuds. This fresh exposure meant more eyes and ears tuned in, fueling a crescendo of commentary about Drake's spectacular fall from grace. After those back-to-back fiascos, many believed the tension would cool off. Instead, the Oscars took everything to another level. And if you think Drake might have shrugged this off behind closed doors, get ready, because what happened next only heightened the drama. As news of the Oscars joke blazed across the internet, murmurs quickly spread that Team Drake believed something bigger was at work, an orchestrated effort to tarnish his legacy. Fans loyal to Drake started echoing these theories, pointing to the repetitive nature of each public poke: the Grammys, the Super Bowl, and now the Oscars. They argue that no major stage would repeatedly mock the same star unless there was a grand conspiracy unfolding. But is it really a conspiracy, or just the nature of award shows to joke about current viral controversies? After all, comedic hosts from the Golden Globes to the Grammys typically thrive on fresh, sensational topics. And the Drake versus Kendrick feud has certainly been just that. One of the biggest talking points here is Drake's alleged lawsuit to clamp down on Kendrick's diss track. People label it bizarre, a move many see as going against hip-hop's culture of free expression. Instead of dishing out his own lyrical comeback, Drake resorted to legal channels, apparently trying to restrict the track or the verbiage used in it. Critics say this is an extreme reaction, especially for a genre that prides itself on confrontation and creative wordplay. Once news broke of Drake's papers, it was open season for comedians and entertainment hosts who could easily spin the storyline into comedic gold. Which brings us back to Conan O'Brien's Oscars joke. Industry insiders say it's just the typical pop culture roasting that we've seen at these events for decades. But from Drake's vantage point, it became concrete proof that the world is ganging up on him. And the more Drake pushes that narrative, the more comedic personalities amplify it, creating a feedback loop of humiliation. Let's let's step back and ask, why do award shows fixate on these controversies anyway? The simple answer is that comedic hosts need to hook viewers with references that resonate immediately. They rely on shared knowledge, topics the entire audience knows about. Right now, the Drake meltdown is legendary. Everyone from casual fans to hardcore music buffs has at least heard a snippet of the fiasco. The Grammys frequently incorporate small jabs at feuding artists to keep the telecast trending on social media. The Super Bowl halftime buzz brings in a diverse crowd, and referencing the year's hottest rap conflict is a surefire way to capture attention. The Oscars might seem like an off-limits domain for rap feuds, but it's still a high-profile event where hosts do anything to get a laugh. When Drake's meltdown soared into the mainstream, it gave writers the perfect comedic in. That's why Conan O'Brien's quip about Drake being called a P-word wasn't a random swipe, it was a guaranteed conversation starter. Nothing about it seems coordinated by a secret league of Drake haters. It was standard comedic practice. You wanna laugh? Reference the biggest scandal trending online. The deeper reality is that Drake's reaction to each of these jokes might be hurting him more than the jokes themselves. Instead of letting it blow over, he has responded with intense frustration, fueling the perception that he's unraveling. And that meltdown vibe can be lethal for a brand as big as Drake's flex. Look at the potential fallout. Endorsement worries. Corporate sponsors often steer clear of stars mired in continuous controversy. If this fiasco keeps surfacing at major events, a brand might hesitate to tie its name to Drake. Media reluctance. Outlets might be cautious interviewing someone who's perceived as combative or litigious. Repeated public spats signal drama, and some platforms prefer stable, lighthearted stories that won't blow up in their faces. Industry isolation. Drake's determination to use legal means against a fellow artist over a diss track rubs many producers and creatives the wrong way. If they see him as a threat to creative freedom, they may keep their distance. This all indicates that Drake's future could be on shaky ground if he doesn't pivot. But will he realize that? Or will he double down, intensifying the swirling negativity? For Kendrick Lamar, meanwhile, it's been a wild ride of unintentional benefits. His already stellar reputation as a lyrical virtuoso has skyrocketed in tandem with Drake's meltdown. Every time Drake complains about unfair lyricism or files new documents to restrict rap content, it reinforces the notion that Kendrick scored a decisive win in this rivalry. Increased streaming. Curious listeners want to hear the track that set Drake off. Streams of Kendrick's music inevitably surge. Wider public interest. People who never cared about rap feuds suddenly feel compelled to check out Kendrick's discography. The narrative that he broke Drake is too intriguing to ignore. Industry support. Many artists applaud Kendrick for standing firm in traditional rap culture, defending lyrical freedom and resisting censorship. By stepping into the Oscars conversation, this feud catapulted Kendrick's name onto yet another stage. Drake may have intended to contain the conflict, but his legal approach and public meltdown only turned Kendrick's diss into a mainstream sensation. Now, comedic hosts across industries are referencing it because they know it's a surefire attention grabber. One of the key reasons this saga refuses to die is the mystery swirling around what might come next. How big will the next jab be? Which high-profile event will make Drake the butt of another joke? Rumors suggest some comedic late-night shows are already brainstorming fresh monologues about his meltdown, and that major festivals could slip in references to the feud for an easy pop from the crowd. What does Drake do in response? Does he back off the legal threats and adopt a more laid-back stance? Or does he escalate further, risking permanent damage to his standing in the music world? Insiders say that if another big event, like the Emmys or a major music festival, takes a shot at him, Drake might lash out with even more dramatic steps. Could that involve new suits, heavier censorship demands, or even boycotts? No one knows yet, which only adds to the anticipation. So, let me ask you, where do you think Drake goes from here? Is he doomed to relive a cycle of comedic roasts until he relinquishes the drama? Or will something unpredictable happen that flips the script entirely? This feud transcends one star's reputation. The underlying issue is about artistic freedom, especially within hip-hop, and whether a megastar can bully or sue another rapper into silence for dissing him. For decades, rap has thrived on open conflict and creative wordplay, even if it sometimes pushes boundaries. By taking legal action, Drake crossed an unspoken line, unleashing concerns that future diss tracks, comedic sketches, or lyrical references might get squashed under legal threats. But it's not just just rap that's at risk. The comedic realm, too, thrives on biting commentary and irreverent humor. Shows like SNL or The Simpsons have always poked fun at public figures, sometimes unflatteringly. If Drake's approach gains traction, many comedic writers and hosts worry about a chilling effect. Will they start facing lawsuits for good-natured jabs? That's why so many entertainers, from fellow rappers to stand-up comics, seem eager to roast Drake. They're collectively signaling they don't want to see a precedent where wealthy artists can muzzle any joke they find offensive. Every wisecrack at the Oscars or Grammys is a stand for creative freedom, and each time Drake pushes back, it only strengthens their resolve to keep the jokes coming. It's a vicious loop that Drake might have unwittingly triggered. If you know someone who still believes Drake is untouchable, share this story with them. Let them see how swiftly a rap king can become a cultural punchline when he takes his feud beyond lyrics and into the courtroom. The sheer momentum of this meltdown feeds off community reactions, which is why public debates on forums, social media platforms, and comment sections are so explosive. People love analyzing a colossal downfall, especially one laced with conspiracy theories, star-studded events, and comedic roasts. So weigh in. Drop a comment with your theories. Could Drake stage a massive comeback? Might he drop new music that instantly reshapes the narrative? Do you see him reconciling with Kendrick? Or is this meltdown too far gone? Your speculation keeps the conversation fiery. Drake's downfall is now the entertainment world's favorite punchline, with each awards show host vying to deliver the next viral dig. What started as a typical rap beef ballooned into a legendary meltdown involving lawsuits, surreal rumors, and show-stopping comedic bombs. At the center stands a once unassailable superstar grappling to regain control of his image, yet every move he makes only fans the flames. Meanwhile, Kendrick Lamar ascends as the champion of this feud, standing for artistic freedom and reinforcing that in rap, you settle issues on the mic, not in court documents. Conan O'Brien's Oscars line encapsulated the entire phenomenon in a single scathing moment. The crowd laughed, social media went wild, Drake's circle fumed, and the rest of us watched, mesmerized by the spectacle. Where does it all lead? In an industry fueled by viral rap battle gossip, comedic showmanship, and hungry fans seeking drama, one thing's certain: until Drake fully embraces the comedic elements and leaves the lawsuits behind, the roasts will keep coming, hosts will keep referencing the meltdown, and the more Drake insists he's a victim of some grand conspiracy, the more audiences will laugh and share, perpetuating the cycle. So keep your eyes on the next big stage, the next awards night, the next halftime performance, or even a viral skit on a late-night show. If recent history is any indication, Drake won't escape that comedic crossfire anytime soon. This saga has proven that a powerful star's greatest undoing might just be his inability to take a joke, especially when the whole world is watching and giggling. And that, my friends, is how Drake went from topping the charts to becoming the industry's prime source of comedic fodder. Buckle up, because if the Grammys, the Super Bowl, and the Oscars can turn Drake's meltdown into primetime entertainment, who knows where the next savage punchline will land? Stay tuned, share your thoughts, and get ready for the next stage of this ever-evolving rap controversy. The story is far from over, and by the looks of it, the jokes are only getting sharper.